was really interesting player for us. He obviously had a great year on JVs last year. Again, he was a 4-year guy who won league titles at every level. Just when you watch Dan's game, he's tireless, he's relentless, he's a ball of energy out there, and he has the unique ability to impact a game without scoring a lot of points. And he always impacts in a positive way. His defensive effort is exemplary, and younger players who watched Mr. Reed play, you could certainly learn a lot and do a nice job of trying to emulate this young man, because he was a great player for us. Dan right now, actually, I know was second on the team. We talked about his defense, but he's very, very good at the free throw line, and we were not a good free throw shooting team. Dan stepped up, made some tough free throws in tough situations. Was our team comedian, so to speak. He doesn't show that now, because if he doesn't, I fully expect to see him someday, some night channel surfing, probably doing stand-up on HBO or something. But it'll be interesting. Right now, Dan's involved in lacrosse, correct? If you've ever seen the sport of lacrosse, you might as well just name it the Reed. Do you use the helmet? Going way back when I was in Santa Barbara, we had a lacrosse team, and as an old former football and basketball guy, thinking you're a tough guy, go out and watch rugby and lacrosse, and those guys are banging each other around without pads. It's incredible. I can see Dan doing very well. I know he's going to have it. I know you're going to have the ability. Actually, Dan's looking to play lacrosse collegiately, and he has a very nice choice of schools. He's looking right now at Tufts University, Boston College, Syracuse, and Brown University in Rhode Island. And that's a pretty nice short list to be looking at. Just a great pleasure to have in the program. You'll do a great job, guys. Okay, John Tillman. Another one of our fabled brother acts to come through the Hall of Halls of Woodbridge following his older brother Jason. John, 4 years in the program, 4 league titles, was an impact player on each team he played on. He certainly was a great player for our squad last year at the JV level, and just like Ryan Perkins coming up, you knew that John was going to impact immediately at the varsity level. And John, along with Matt, handled the majority of the point guard duties for us this year, and came off the bench in the majority of the games, but we started in a lot of games down the stretch, and it really didn't matter. John can score in double figures coming off the bench, or he'd impact just as well, scoring 6 points and doing what he does defensively for us. Being a bigger guard, he has the ability to slash, and actually did a great job of getting to the free throw line. Believe it or not, as a point guard, I believe was second on the team in free throw attempts, which means, that's great. When things break down, you get to the free throw line, that's a huge advantage. And John was also second on the team in assists. Did a big shot, I think, that nobody will forget, against the Laguna Hills. That was one we drew up, by the way. I said, yeah, go this way, and it's time to throw up the leaping lead with the second left and whatever. But John saved our bacon that game, at least. Got us into the second overtime, and the rest is history. But John's looking to play locally here at the JC level, at one of the 3 JCs. Wherever he ends up, I know some coach is going to be a happy guy. John, thank you. We're on. The Weiss, again, not a 4-year player. There's a little story behind this. A couple years back, when I had one of my PE sections, I had a co-ed PE class for freshmen, and that's the first time I saw Mr. Wardock actually play. I rolled out the balls we were doing our basketball unit, and this kid's just killing everybody in there. He looked like he had a little game to him. I asked him, well, geez, what I couldn't see in the tryouts. And, he was playing AU ball down in San Diego, and the rest is history. We finally got him into the program as a sophomore. Played on the JVs for 2 years, and came up this year on varsity. And didn't get to play the minutes that he would have liked to play, but was just fierce in practice, and had some memorable games, especially in the summer, where he did some real damage in the front of our press. And the Weiss is just a ball magnet. When the ball goes up, at his size, he's really a guard size, has the ability to offensive rebound with some of the best and biggest we've had. It's just has an amazing knack for finding the ball. And Weiss is doing a super job in the classroom, 4.3 GPA, I believe. I think I had a 4.3 GPA, but I had mine up twice against there. Right now, Weiss is looking at, I was looking at MIT, just to give you an idea of the caliber of student athlete we're talking about. Has a chance now to play in a more local area at Caltech University. And there are no dummies going to Caltech, people. And the Weiss is going to have a chance if he chooses to play for Coach Gene Victor, who's a very good coach at Caltech. And that takes the term student athlete to a whole new level. But great job, Weiss. Eric Watson. Watson, 4 years in the program. It's when you're coaching, especially teaching, it kind of feels like you're in time warp. I can remember when I used to be able to almost look him in the eye, and the biggest worry I had about Eric was how many bones he's going to break falling off a skateboard. We've come a long way since then. Eric's a 4-year guy. Again, 4 teams, 4 titles. A testament to our depth. Eric, I wish I could go back and figure out a way to get Eric some more minutes. Down the stretch, he was practicing as well as anybody we had, and we were just so locked up with minutes with so many other guys in the front court. But Eric found his niche and was able to play. Very good 2-foot jumper. Would be great on the volleyball team. He's great. He's really quick off the floor. In terms of we ever kept the stat, rebounds and block shots per minute, I think Eric would be right there. It seemed like every time we put him in the game, he was immediately rebounding, blocking somebody's shot. And the game I remember, I know Eric has the Dana Hills game where he came off the bench at 2 threes, had 12 quick points, blocked about 3 shots, and it was just a world beater against the Dolphins. But I'm really happy for Eric. He did a super job for us. School next year, I know he's going to accept the University of Arizona. And I know he's you're accepted, come on. That's almost easy to get into with UC Santa Barbara. Right? Come on. U of A, you're playing. I know Eric is going to major in business. That's what he wants to do. Hopefully he'll manage my portfolio someday. Okay, Jordan Linder. Jordan. Again, Jordan Linder, a 4-year guy for us. Really a talkative guy. You just can't get Jordan to shut up. It's the most I've seen him talk in 3 years. Jordan, again, four teams, 4 titles in 4 years. Really the glue. You know, guys like Jordan are the glue to any program. Very low maintenance. I'm telling you, and we're fortunate. We have a lot of low maintenance guys. Actually, all of our guys are pretty doggone low maintenance compared with a lot of coaches I've talked to and having them tell me their horror stories. But I tell you, Jordan again was another one of our 6'4" guys. We seem to have a lot of them. He was jammed up for minutes, but very athletic, smooth shooting forward. I just couldn't get him enough minutes on the court. But every time we put him in, he impacted in a positive fashion. And the great thing about Jordan is for all of our guys. Once they found the role, they accepted it. They came in and practiced hard, and it's not easy to sit more than you play. It's not easy for a high school guy to do. And Jordan is a good player, and right now he's presently a good athlete. He's presently starting on our volleyball team, which I know is ranked in the top 10 in Orange County, and I've already seen him play twice. He's a heck of a volleyball player, and I think he's going to have a chance to play volleyball after high school. Probably don't speak this up. It's in Princeton and Wheaton University in Chicago are some schools that Jordan's looking at. Again, these are very good academic institutions in their own right. The best of luck to the very, very Right. Jordan. Okay, Matt Van Houten. Yeah. All right, Mr. Van Houten. I'll be the first to admit, Matt's a unique situation. I actually, in the spring, decided that we were going to go with 16 instead of 17. I was a little paranoid of our numbers as it was, and it was a very difficult conversation I had with Matt in the spring. I'm also going to be the first to admit that I was wrong, and bringing Matt back, Matt made a believer out of me, and he certainly deserves as much as anybody to have a letter. He's been in our program for 4 years. He's done a super job for us, and I know I'm embarrassing him up here a little bit, but Matt is, he was a pleasure to have on the squad. Really competed in practice, ultra quick. I know probably fouled a few of the guys too many times in practice. But when we put Matt in the game, I know this. He certainly was able to get a quick steal here or there, or fly down the court and make something good happen. And again, we had so many guards that were playing in front. It was tough to get Matt minutes, but I'm really happy he was able to be on the team, and he made us a better team. Matt. Okay, moving on to our returning lettermen, who are seniors, and alphabetically we'll bring up Regan. Roy. Regan was a player on our squad last year. He was very explosive, very athletic. Certainly this year, that did not change. Regan led us in rebounding. Regan led the team in block shots. And I'll tell you something. I know Regan will be the first to tell you, and he's right. He knows that I'm not an easy guy to play for. And a lot of times, our relationship is an interesting dynamic. I would yell at Regan would yell at me. But I do know this. Regan tried to do everything I asked him to do this year. And he was in a situation where I don't know if we win the CV League title if Regan didn't willingly accept a change in his role, and he ended up playing better, coming off the bench, at least for the short stand we did it, because I was able to save some quick fouls. And he came up huge in some games, especially against larger physical teams. He was our enforcer, no doubt. I remember one game, I believe it was Lisa Miguel at our place, where I remember one particular instance which really summarizes what Regan's all about as an athlete. Ran down on defense, kids run on breakaway, Regan gets back, blocks the shot, scrambles for the ball, goes to another guy. He goes in and tries to dunk the ball, and made a mistake trying to dunk on this guy. Regan sent it back, and Regan will be the first to tell you, it was tough year for him offensively. He didn't shoot as well as he'd like to, but that was my fault. I probably got into his head a little too much, and that screwed it up a little bit, and I apologize for that. But he's a guy I think has great upside, and really came along for us emotionally, mentally, and was a good team. Really tried to fire guys up and accepted his role well. I look forward to seeing Regan play somewhere. I don't know if it's going to be here locally or down in San Diego or out in Arizona, but I think it's going to happen.
Come on, no problem.
Wake up this morning, smile with the rising sun. 3 little bird pitch by my doorstep, singing sweet songs of melody pure and true. They say this is a message to you. Singing don't worry about a thing, cause every little thing is gonna be alright. So don't worry about a thing, cause every little thing is gonna be alright.
Very
so
nice.
Don't worry
Excellent.
about a thing. It's
Very.
true, you know, it's just like after a storm, it must be a calm. It never stormed forever.
That's right.
So no matter what happened, it soon be over.
Did you know what happened to me yesterday?
Tell me,
Tell him. You tell
what
him.
happened to you, Dad?
I got ripped off of $1,750. How about that? All of that money was going to be spent in this mall.
I met, not my brother. I met some folks and they did this for me. When they got their piece, they dropped it in line, they did this. I'll show you what they did here, but Look at these folks here. Okay. Okay, just a minute. Self-praise is no recommendation. Read what they say on the back.
You should have a website. I have a website with all the same kind of testimonials. It's
Yes,
cool.
sir. So you guys are really my recommendation. It's like going to look a job and you need a proper recommendation. You guys are my recommendation. And I show you what happened now with this one that you said. I had friends who got the big one. Oh, I'm wrong.
Hi, Sharon.
Okay, right here. If you search this market and you find another guy with an album, I'm gonna give you a free piece. I'm the only.
So you notice how quickly they divert from home and gouges. They know I went there, so they're already not a bad choice. Matt Wallen, 4 years in the program. Matt took a little bit different journey than a lot of the guys in his class. Didn't get to play for 4 different teams, 4 league titles. Matt was a fast track guy. Played on the JVs as a sophomore, and we had Matt up last year on varsity as a junior. And it was, as we all know, from a win-loss standpoint, it was not an easy year. But Matt played significant minutes last year, and we knew that Matt was going to be a prime-time contributor for us this year. Matt did not disappoint. Handled the majority of the minutes for us at the point, along with John Tilton. Matt was the leading assist man on our team. Actually, was one of the county leaders, snuck up in the top 10 for a while. I think that thing was changing. But Matt, in our system, was very, very good. Totally selfless player. Did not care how many points he scored. Was more than willing to set up his teammates. And nobody cared more than Matt. And for that, I'm greatly appreciative because Matt really was what this squad was all about. His attention to detail, his demeanor, his fire, his competitive drive. A lot of our guys were able to feed off that. Matt Wall. Shane Harris. Shane is our lone 3-year letterman on the varsity this year. Again, Shane, his experiences through the program are different than anybody else. Me, my only 3-year letterman right now. Played on a very good freshman team and then was a varsity player for 3 years, and certainly all of Shane's exploits on the football field was up on the varsity for 4 years. 7 out of a possible 8 years as a varsity athlete in 2 different sports speaks for itself. Shane experienced great success on the football field, and I'm happy to say I'm glad we finally got it right as a senior, because Shane went through 2 tough years on the varsity in basketball and played on teams that unfortunately didn't get to enjoy the success that this team did this year. But Shane, it was always tougher for him because he was coming off the football season. He was just physically beat up, and it's just difficult. You cannot play football for 4 months out of the year and not pick up some bumps and bruises. Not the way this guy plays. And he carries that same effort and attitude out on the court, and a lot of times that allowed him to make big plays. He was just absolutely fearless on the court. Was a team leader, usually by example, certainly, and had a penchant for making big shots at crucial times for us. And I'm going to miss this guy. Next year, Shane Harris is looking at, I know he's going to try to continue his football career, and I think he'll be successful either at Saddleback Junior College or possibly at St. Louis. And just have a sense that Shane's going to do well wherever he goes. Shane Harris. Some special certificate awards and our trophy awards, and we'll be done here. Bear with me a few more minutes. We had 2 captains this year that basically took the reins in the summer, and I knew as seniors I wanted to steer them toward being captains, and Shane Harris being a 3-year man, it was tough for Shane because we just didn't have Shane for 11 months. He had other things he had to do, and he did them quite well. We had 2 captains this year, though, that did a fine job. Were basketball guys that allowed them to be around a little more, and that helped. But certainly their work ethic, their desire was second to none. They led by example. One was more fiery leader, one was more of a quiet leader, and I'd like to bring up John Till and Matt Wall. I cannot say enough about these two individuals. I always think of them almost together because they're, they have there's a lot of commonality. They both are the younger brothers coming through a program. Looking at the two older brothers in the back of the room who did this not too long ago, Mike and Jason. I know you guys are really proud of your younger brothers. And yes, I know you can still kick their tail on basketball. We know this. But, that's the younger guys, you just have to age before duty, all that stuff. These two guys really were a pleasure to have in the program, and they certainly were a pleasure to work with this year. And they were central to our success. We would not have been the same team without these two individuals. And I'm really, really appreciative to have the opportunity to work for them and work with them. And I'm looking forward to seeing them go on to bigger and better things. And don't forget the food. Okay, our next Warrior Award is our Most Valuable Defensive Player Award. And this, we were a great defensive team this year. Some team stats. We held our opponents to 33% shooting from the floor. For your math pages, that's 1 out of every 3. That's very good. And less than 25% from beyond the three-point arc. In the last couple of years, we've been getting burned by teams hitting big three-point shots on us. This year, we were able to contest a little farther and certainly more consistently out on the court. We averaged 6 block shots a game and forced 18 turnovers a game. And that's why this team was flat out fun to watch and why they enjoyed the success they did. It all started at the defensive end. There was one athlete in particular that pretty much, they all played hard. We all demanded that. Coach Harvey implemented our defense and did a super job of that. That's certainly the main reason why we were a better defensive club. But if you were to poll any guy on the team, which guy did you absolutely really hate, just bang bodies with all practice or go against, at least on the perimeter, without a doubt, they'd all say Dan Reed. So Dan, come on. Dan's defensive effort speaks for itself. And he was a favorite, certainly, of Coach Harvey's because he played a lot like Coach Harvey did in high school. And they say you only get a guy like this maybe once every couple, 3, 4, 5 years. I hope not. I really hope not. If we want to continue to be successful, the younger players out there remember watching him play, and a lot of guys sitting in this front row, they won because they defended, and nobody did it better than Dan. Our next 2 Warrior Awards are what we call Coaches Awards, and I really had a hard time looking at most inspirational. We're not going to give that award with this team this year because we had 17 guys that, for their own individual reasons, were an inspiration to me. It was very difficult to pick just one guy. There were 2 Coaches Awards, though, that I did want to give out because we had 2 guys, one a returning letterman and one gentleman up from JVs, who were just incredibly team-oriented individuals. You could not, I never ever once heard them say a negative thing about another teammate. Always came in and just gave you nothing but their best effort. Were very, very receptive to coaching 100% of the time. And that's not easy because sometimes, players don't think coaches have it right. And that's part of the real world, and sometimes we don't. But at least these guys were receptive. They were great leaders, silent leaders, but they led by example. And we are really going to miss these 2 guys. And I'm really hoping that our returning lettermen certainly step up and take their place in terms of leadership. And the Coaches Awards for this year go to Ryan Perkins and Andy Boyd. recognize some all-league performers, and I think I might have neglected them. Ryan Perkins, we had our all-league meeting a couple weeks ago, and at all-league meetings, coaches, we cannot vote for our own players. That's something that you don't do, and it's really an honor because it's what the other coaches feel. And being a league champion, you certainly are able to get a few more all-league guys, which goes to the territory, as you should. I would like to recognize these guys as they were voted as second-team all-league players. They were good enough, certainly, to be the first team, but our system and our numbers, it's really interesting about our team. One guy averaged in double figures. You're a league champion, won 19 games, one guy averaged in double figures, and that was 12 points a game. And we had 6 guys that averaged between 5 and 8 points. You can't spread it out any better than that. But two guys the coaches felt, there were 2 second-team all-league guys. I want to recognize them quickly, and that's Ryan Perkins and John Tillman. We will get it soon. We don't generate that at our school. One of the other schools does that. We were also fortunate enough to have actually three players that were nominated to the first team. Actually, 2 players that were nominated. I'd like to bring up our first underclassman. This is really an interesting situation. I might as well bring him up right now. First team, Tayshawn Kelly. This is really a unique situation. I haven't seen it in my 17 years as a coach, but it speaks to our depth and the fact that guys on this team played with 0 ego. And we had probably 8 or 9 guys who easily could have started. And we run out using the same 5 for a lot of the year. And we didn't have people whining and complaining. We just had people coming off the bench and playing real hard and real well. And that's what made us a good team. Tayshawn was one of those guys. He stepped his game up in the league. Was averaging almost 10 points a game coming off the bench. Instant offense, as I mentioned before, shot 48% from beyond the 3-point line. That's pretty good. Yeah, it's okay to whistle that. That's pretty doggone good. Tayshawn's going to be an excellent player for us next year. He has a chance to really be a guy that can be an all-county player as well as an all-league player next year. I'm looking forward to working with Tayshawn and seeing him grow and develop. Tayshawn. Our other first team all-leaguers, we have 2 awards left, and we'll do this simultaneously. The awards, the all-league and the plaque awards. I'd like to bring up our first recipient. It was pretty obvious after a season of competition. 2 guys really stepped forward, night in and night out for us. They just, I can't say enough about what they did on the court, and their play certainly speaks for itself. The first gentleman I'd like to bring up is Danny Lambert. Danny's one of our Most Valuable Player Awards. Danny Lambert, which speaks volumes, is also, as an underclassman, the most valuable player in the CV League, which tells you something right away. We have to keep up here for another 30 seconds or so in comparison, but obviously we haven't had a lot of guys come through here that will lead MVPs as underclassmen. The ones that were, I don't want to put any pressure on Danny, found a way to go on and play after high school. Danny's going to have that opportunity after next year. He is just scratching the surface. Can play all 5 positions on the court, really, at 6'4 plus. And certainly next year we can even see him playing more wing guard if we decide to go big, depending on what we do. But Danny's a very, very versatile player. And he's going to be a heck of a player, a lot of fun to watch next year. Danny Lambert. Recipient, our 311, Shane Harris. practice, you know, looking at these guys, not seeing a tilting around, not seeing a wall around. You know, I've had two brothers go through, and certainly not seen this gentleman right here who's been on varsity for 3 years. And Shane, I think, could probably appreciate this year more than anybody else on the squad, because he went there the 2 previous years as an underclassman, which were difficult years. Shane saved our tail time in and time out. Really played his best in the biggest games. And you know, watching Shane along with, you know, as it comes to my Dan Reed, really 2 times this year take